Welcome back to the Chanel USD Coins, everyone. If you're a coin collector, a history buff, or simply someone curious about how a small piece of metal can be worth millions, you're in for something truly fascinating. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mystifying and talked about coins in U.S. numismatic history, the elusive and controversial 1974 Liberty dime, a coin that, under the right circumstances and in the right condition, could be worth an astonishing $6.5 million. That's right. A single dime, with a face value of 10 cents, potentially valued in the millions. So grab your magnifying glasses and put on your detective hats, because this is not just about silver and copper, it's about mistakes, mysteries, and the magic that makes numismatics so incredibly captivating. To understand the value and uniqueness of this coin, we need to take a few steps back into American history. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, honoring the late President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The design featured his profile on the obverse side, and on the reverse, a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. By 1974, this design had been in use for nearly 3 decades, minted in billions, mostly unremarkable to the average eye. But what makes the 1974 dime stand out, and why are collectors willing to offer millions to possess a particular specimen? The D in the 1974 dime refers to the Denver Mint, one of the major facilities producing U.S. coinage. That year, the Denver Mint struck over 568 million dimes, yes, more than $500 million. So how could one coin out of so many possibly be worth millions? That's where mint errors, misstrikes, and the unpredictable quirks of the minting process come into play. Because buried somewhere within those hundreds of millions may be a coin or perhaps a handful of coins unlike any other, coins struck in error, never meant to leave the mint, coins that somehow escaped quality control and found their way into the pockets of ordinary people. One of the most persistent rumors surrounding the 1974 Liberty dime is that a few examples were accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, most notably, the quarter. Imagine a dime-sized coin but struck on a metal blank larger and heavier than it should be, with completely different metallurgical properties. These kinds of mistakes are known as wrong planchet errors, and they can make a coin extraordinarily rare. Not only would the size, weight, and feel of the coin be off, but the strike itself would be abnormal. Details might appear stretched or flattened, rims misaligned, and even the reeded edge might appear inconsistent. But even among wrong planchet errors, not all are created equal. The value skyrockets if the error involves a coin struck on a 90% silver blank after the U.S. Mint had already switched over to copper-nickel-clad compositions. Although the last regular silver dimes were struck in 1964, it's believed that a small number of silver blanks remained in the mint storage bins or were mistakenly used from leftover stock. These planchets, if struck with a 1974 die, would produce a coin that simply should not exist, a post-silver era dime in silver form. Finding such a piece would be like unearthing buried treasure. Another theory that fuels the value of the 1974 Liberty dime involves double strikes and misalignments. A double-struck coin is one that is struck more than once by the minting press, often shifting slightly between strikes. This creates a ghost-like image or a doubling effect that makes the coin look surreal, almost like a visual echo of itself. While double strikes are more common in pennies and nickels, rare examples have been found among dimes as well. If a 1974 dime was struck twice, especially with a dramatic misalignment, and somehow made it past inspection, it could be incredibly desirable for collectors. Let's not forget about off-center strikes, where the design of the coin is not properly centered on the planchet. Depending on how off-center the strike is, such errors can range from slightly interesting to massively valuable. An off-center 1974 dime, especially one that retains its full date and mint mark while missing a significant portion of the reverse or obverse, would be considered a prized rarity. The more dramatic the error while still preserving identifiable features, the higher the potential value. There's also the mysterious possibility of overstrikes. This is when a coin is struck over another, already existing coin, either of the same denomination or a different one entirely. This usually happens due to human error or mechanical failure during the striking process. If, for example, a 1974 D dime was struck over a foreign coin or an already minted US coin, the result would be a bizarre and unique hybrid of design elements. Some collectors dream of finding such combinations, like a Roosevelt head floating over an unrelated coin's legend or design pattern. Then there's the matter of die varieties, subtle differences in the dies used to strike the coins. These can include things like repunched mint marks, where the D for Denver appears to have been stamped more than once in slightly different positions, creating a shadow effect. Some die varieties may show doubling on the date or on Roosevelt's profile, particularly his hair and facial features. Although subtle to the average observer, these varieties are the stuff of legends in the numismatic community, and certain ones are aggressively sought after. One of the most compelling stories associated with the 1974 D dime is that of a rumored prototype or experimental coin. It has been speculated, though not confirmed by the U.S. Mint, that a few experimental dimes may have been struck using alternative metal compositions or even special dies. These coins were never intended for public circulation and should have been destroyed. However, if even one survived and was found in the wild, its existence would challenge conventional mint history and could drive its price into the millions. The sheer rarity of such a coin, combined with the mythology that surrounds it, could make it a holy grail for any serious collector. Let's talk metallurgy for a moment. Most dimes produced after 1965 are composed of a clad composition, outer layers of copper-nickel surrounding a pure copper core. However, a genuine 1974 D dime mistakenly struck on a silver planchet would have a different sound, weight, and coloration. We're talking about a slight change that makes all the difference. An experienced collector would immediately notice the lighter, more bell-like ring of a silver dime when dropped on a hard surface. Under magnification or with the right scale, the difference would be indisputable. Testing such a coin through X-ray fluorescence or specific gravity analysis would provide definitive proof. Imagine holding such a dime in your hand, almost identical in appearance, yet chemically distinct from hundreds of millions of others. It's also important to understand how such coins are authenticated. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC play a critical role in evaluating, certifying, and encapsulating rare coins. If a 1974 D dime with one of the major error types, say, a silver planchet, wrong planchet, or dramatic double strike, was discovered, getting it certified by one of these institutions would be essential. The grade assigned to the coin, such as Mint State 65 or Proof 70, would significantly impact its market value. The better preserved the coin, the more valuable it becomes. But with such rare error coins, sometimes even a circulated specimen can fetch astronomical prices if the error is prominent and verifiable. Now, let's dive into a bit of the market psychology behind coins like this being valued at up to $6.5 million. It's not just about rarity, it's about narrative, provenance, and demand. Think about it. A coin that defies official records, one that wasn't supposed to exist, taps into something primal, a collector's fantasy of finding hidden treasure. If such a coin was discovered in the wild, perhaps found in loose change or passed down unknowingly through generations, its story would become part of its allure. It's the perfect storm of scarcity, mystery, and historical anomaly. Add to that the prestige of owning a unique piece of American minting history, and suddenly collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay millions. There have been cases in the past where seemingly mundane coins sold for astronomical sums because of a similar mix of error, rarity, and legend. Take the 1943 copper penny, a coin that wasn't supposed to exist due to the wartime switch to steel. Or the 1913 Liberty nickel, of which only 5 are known to exist. These coins have sold for millions at auction, not merely because of their age or metal content, but because they tell a story that transcends time. A 1974 D dime with similar pedigree, especially if verified to have been struck in error using obsolete materials or processes, would fall into the same elite category. Furthermore, there's an ever-growing community of online collectors and digital marketplaces that allow such coins to gain rapid visibility. If a certified 1974 D dime with a major mint error were to appear in an online auction, word would spread like wildfire. Bidding wars would ensue. News outlets might even pick up the story. In today's interconnected world, a single coin can become a global sensation overnight. That increased visibility only adds fuel to the fire of speculation and drives prices higher. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most intriguing and mysterious coins in American history, the 1994 Liberty Dime, also known as the Roosevelt Dime. But this isn't just any ordinary dime. This particular coin has gained the attention of collectors and experts alike for its extraordinary value, an unbelievable face value of just 10 cents but an estimated market worth of up to $4.5 million. That's right. $4.5 million for a single dime. So, how is this even possible? What kind of errors, mistakes, and peculiarities can cause a common coin to reach such astronomical heights in the world of coin collecting? Grab your magnifying glass and curiosity, because we're about to uncover the hidden secrets of the 1994 Liberty Dime and why it might just be one of the most valuable coins ever struck by the United States Mint. Let's start with a little context. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, commemorating President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his death. Minted in billions over the decades, these dimes are generally considered common, with little variation or excitement for the average person. But once in a while, a production anomaly or unexpected mistake changes the entire narrative. In 1994, the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of Roosevelt dimes, designated by the P Mint mark. For most, these coins passed through the system unnoticed, used for soda machines, parking meters, and piggy banks. But then something surfaced. A small number of 1994 dimes began drawing attention from collectors due to oddities that just didn't add up. What makes this dime so unique? The value of a coin can spike astronomically due to a few factors: rarity, condition, demand, and above all, error. In numismatic circles, errors are often more exciting than perfection. A flawless coin is beautiful, yes, but a flawed coin is a mystery, a window into the behind-the-scenes world of the minting process. With the 1994 Liberty Dime, the key lies in a series of production anomalies that hint at extraordinary error types, each contributing to the coin's growing legend and market value. First, let's consider the double die errors reported in a small batch of these dimes. A double die occurs when the die itself, the stamp used to imprint the design on blank planchets, has a misaligned or repeated image. This can result in doubling in areas like the lettering of Liberty, the motto, "In God We Trust," the date, or even Roosevelt's IN profile. In the case of the 1994 Liberty Dime, some specimens exhibit noticeable doubling in the inscriptions, particularly United States of America and one dime on the reverse side. This type of error is highly collectible, especially when the doubling is dramatic and visible to the naked eye. Now combine that with off-center strikes. In some rare cases, 1994 dimes were struck when the blank planchet was not correctly seated in the coining press. This leads to an off-center coin, where part of the design is missing, and a blank crescent remains on one side. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, the value increases exponentially. A slight off-center might be interesting, but a dramatic 30% or more off-center strike is a gem for collectors. It demonstrates a failure in quality control and becomes a literal piece of minting history. Then there's the no-ridge, or weak edge, variety. A properly minted dime has a reeded edge, those tiny ridges or lines around the circumference of the coin. But some 1994 dimes have surfaced with completely smooth edges, lacking those telltale ridges. This could indicate a worn-out or misaligned collar die, the part responsible for forming the coin's edge. The presence of a smooth edge where there should be ridges adds another layer of rarity to the coin. Also intriguing are examples of coins struck on incorrect planchets. A planchet is the blank metal disc on which a coin design is stamped. Occasionally, a dime is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, like a penny or a foreign coin. Imagine finding a Roosevelt dime design pressed onto a copper-colored penny planchet. This type of error is not only incredibly rare but bizarre and eye-catching. making it a showstopper at auctions and private sales. Though unconfirmed, rumors persist in numismatic forums of 1994 P dimes with characteristics like weight discrepancies or unusual coloration that suggest the use of incorrect planchets. Mint mark anomalies have also been reported. A mint mark is the small letter on a coin that tells you where it was produced, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. In the 1994 P series, some collectors have noticed irregularities with the mint mark itself. It may appear doubled, misplaced, or even missing entirely. A missing mint mark is particularly noteworthy because mint marks are supposed to be added during the die-making process and should appear on every coin. If a coin struck in Philadelphia somehow lacks the mint mark, this signals a serious production oversight. Missing mint marks can elevate a coin's status dramatically. Die cracks and cuds also come into play. Over time, dies can develop cracks, which then transfer onto the coins they strike. This results in raised lines or blobs of metal where there should be a smooth design. A cud is a chunk of metal that appears when a piece of the die breaks off entirely, causing a raised blank area on the coin. While these aren't always considered errors in the traditional sense, they are anomalies and often command attention in the collecting world. On a 1994 P dime, the presence of such die breaks, especially if large and dramatic, makes the coin even more desirable. Another aspect to consider is the condition of the coin, which in numismatics is graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS 70. The higher the grade, the more desirable the coin. A 1994 P dime with a rare error in pristine, uncirculated condition is a unicorn. Combine a dramatic error with a high mint state grade, and you've got a coin worth not hundreds or thousands, but potentially millions. This is where that staggering $4.5 million valuation comes into play. It's not just about the error, it's about the error combined with rarity, condition, and the story behind it. Now, let's talk about provenance. The journey of a coin, where it's been, who's owned it, and how it came into the spotlight, can dramatically affect its value. Imagine discovering one of these error dimes in your pocket change, oblivious to its true worth. This is the dream of every coin hunter. Over the years, various 1994 P dimes have surfaced in estate sales, flea markets, and even bank rolls. Once authenticated and appraised, they've gone on to fetch jaw-dropping prices in private auctions and numismatic circles. These stories only fuel the myth and mystique of the coin, creating a kind of folklore that surrounds it. Authentication is another critical piece of the puzzle. Before any coin can command such high prices, it must be authenticated by a recognized grading service such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These organizations examine coins under high magnification, evaluate the legitimacy of errors, and assign a grade that can make or break the coin's market value. A certified 1994 P dime with verified errors and a high mint state grade becomes not just a collectible but an investment-grade asset. It's also important to consider the role of market psychology in the coin's perceived value. Collectors, dealers, and investors are always on the lookout for the next big thing, the next coin that can rise in value exponentially. The rarity of the 1994 P error dimes, combined with increasing public interest and media coverage, creates a sense of urgency. FOMO, fear of missing out, drives prices higher as more people enter the market hoping to snag one of these rare specimens. As demand increases and supply remains incredibly limited, the price naturally skyrockets. The legality and mint response to such errors also adds an intriguing twist. The U.S. Mint does not typically comment on specific errors once coins are released into circulation. However, when an error coin gains significant media attention or value, the Mint's silence only adds to the aura of mystery. Was it a rogue die technician who overlooked the error? Was it a mechanical malfunction or an intentional act? We may never know. But in the absence of official explanations, speculation runs wild, and with it, the coin's myth grows. Another speculative layer to this story involves the possibility of undiscovered varieties. Could there be other versions of the 1994 P dime still out there, waiting to be found? Coins struck from different die pairs can have slight variations, different positioning of letters, different spacing in the date, subtle differences in Roosevelt's features. Each of these minute details could signal the presence of another valuable variety. The idea that more of these coins may be sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or coin rolls keeps collectors actively searching. The thrill of the hunt is a big part of what makes rare coin collecting so addictive. The idea that something so small, so easily overlooked, could be worth millions is irresistible. The 1994 P. Liberty dime encapsulates this idea perfectly. It's not flashy like a gold coin, nor is it historically ancient, but it holds within it the potential for a life-changing discovery. Every coin tells a story, and this dime's story is one of mystery, rarity, and astonishing value.